You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Cooksy Mob, what's happening? So, I just watched what is possibly the most boring race I've seen all season. The Paris Supercross was horrible. Yeah, we had some things to watch, but not really. I mean, if you guys watch baseball, you know what spring training is. Spring training is what they call games where they line up, they keep score, they do those types of things, but the players really don't care. They're out there just practicing, training, and just doing things to see where they're at for the season. I mean, shoot, towards the end of the innings, guys are jogging in the outfield. This race in Paris was exactly that. It is an exhibition. These guys don't race for prize money. It really doesn't matter. They're essentially racing for a trophy. And it's tough now. This used to be cool in the sense of there wasn't a ton of racing that we got to see in the off season, and it mattered. There wasn't a World Supercross. SMX didn't run so long. Now we get to this race. The guys are tired. The guys are in the middle of Supercross prep. They just drop that, fly over to Paris, take a bundle of money, put it in 80%, and go home. And that's what we got. We got 80%. And the broadcast, oh my God, it took forever. They had the longest intermissions I've ever seen. I felt like I watched 5 hours of television for like 15 minutes of racing. That was awful. Back in the day when freestyle was fresh and new, it was really cool. Now it's like, I'm sorry. Freestyle, you guys are risking your lives. It's dangerous as all hell. You guys are to the point where you're killing people. But once you've seen a double backflip, you've seen a double backflip. It doesn't blow you away. And I feel bad saying that, but they have to figure out something else to spice it up. I don't know. Even the handlebar race was kind of boring. Nobody fell. They didn't have a bunch of fat people falling down. Like, it was just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Am I just being a Debbie Downer here? I might be, but I didn't like it. I think this race sucked. I'm more excited for World Supercross and Vince Friese running Roadblock, where we got some true storylines where it actually matters. And they've talked about having Paris Supercross on the World Supercross format, but so this is where the politics of the sport get involved. Honda and these other brands that don't want to support World Supercross have told their riders no. So what they do is Paris says, okay, it's an exhibition. You're allowed to go do it. So they can get Jet, they can get Hunter, they can get Webb, they can get some of these guys that the brands might shut down if it were actually a world championship. They don't want their guys racing for real. They want their guys riding at 80%, doing spring training type stuff. And that's exactly what this was. And I'm sorry, it was boring. I'm super excited to see the finale of World Supercross in Australia next week. That's going to be 100 times better. But before we get into all the rest of this, guys, if you haven't tried Energy Fuel, try it. If you need an energy drink that fights cramps, makes you recovered, and according to me, helps with hangovers, try Energy Fuel. And it tastes good too. It's really good. Epic Garage Designs. Get your floor, 400 square feet, $17.95. Make your garage look badass. Ride Strapped. Ride Strapped is the coolest goggle company out there. They got shirts, sunglasses, and sometimes when you leave comments, we send you a Ride Strap prize pack, depending on what you said. Sometimes I just pick them at random. And then if you're shipping anything in the United States, use Precision Transport. Club MX just recently used them and told me it was half the price of FedEx. So not only do you get that customer support, you get a better price. So use Precision Transport. All right, guys, let's get into the rest of this. So watching this race in Paris, the French guys race like it's a real race, but you're getting guys like, I love Cedric Soubeyras. He's awesome. I'm a huge Cedric Soubeyras and Gregory Aranda fan, but they're guys that are finishing outside the top 10 in the U.S., struggling to make main events, and now they're battling up there for podiums. And actually, Greg Aranda, well, that was what he had a brilliant moment in Superpole and laid down the fast lap. Damn, good on Greg Aranda. The dude's a savage. He must have been going like 10 times over what his normal level is, but he out-qualified Jet and Roxon. That one goes on the resume forever. I don't care if it's a spring training game. Good on you, Greg Aranda. It was nice to see Joe Shimoda debut on the Honda. That was kind of cool, but once again, we've got him battling against guys other than Tom Vial, who, dang, he looked nervous. He took it serious. He's the only guy that he looked stressed out. He looked like a guy who is in his hometown with a ton of expectations. It just didn't ride good. And it's going to look really bad on him in 2023 or 2024 if he comes out and doesn't do well and Max Vohland comes out on that Kawasaki, which I think he will, and do really well. It's going to be very, very telling of the KTM machine if that happens, or the program, or whatever they got going on. It's not going to look good for KTM if Max comes out and does good, or at least better than Tom Vial. Because Vial's at the second year here. This is his second year in Supercross. This is when he's expected to come over here and win. He's paid to win. And if he can't do that, we're going to have some issues. Back to the 450s. Jet is owning these guys. I'm sorry. Chase Sexton and Jason Anderson and Eli Tomac had to be watching that going, oh boy, we got our work cut out for us. The way Jet hit those whoops and just went right across the top of them, leaned back. He reminded me of Pastrana. Do you guys ever remember when Pastrana would just go bonsai through the whoops and was faster than anyone else? He would always crash somewhere else. But imagine Pastrana whoop speed with that super technical riding of Jet Lawrence everywhere else. He's going to be hard to beat. He's a really smart rider. He's very controlled. And, it's going to be tough. And Hunter, I was disappointed. I expected a little bit more on the 450. I heard he's a better 450 rider than that. Yes, I know it was an exhibition, but I don't see Hunter doing any better than third. I mean, I expect him to get a couple podiums this year, but he's going to need a little help to get those podiums. You're going to have a couple of the top guys go down, or, he does have really good endurance and he's consistent. So that should get him to the podium a couple times. But I look for him around 5th place most of the time. And, I don't like how him and Jet ride each other. Yes, they ride, but I don't know. Hunter always goes wide because he knows Jet's not going to slam him. If it's someone else he protects, even though Jet did accidentally slam him, it's tough for me to watch. Like I said, it's like watching those two at the practice track. Nobody's trying to really do anything. They're racing, but it's like play racing almost. It bothers me. There's nobody out there trying to kill each other like Vince Friese does. And that's what I want. All I want from my guys is I want them to care. If they don't care, why the heck should I care? If they don't care about the results of Paris Supercross, why as a fan should I get up at 5 a.m. American time, watch 5 hours of racing with a bunch of guys who are just riding around like a practice day? Yes, I love the sport, but it's frustrating. I can't wait for World Supercross, and guys at the Paris Supercross promoters, scrap all these, whatever contract deals or whatever politics you're playing with the manufacturers to keep it out of World Supercross. It's time. We have meaningful off-season races, so your exhibition looks bad now. Now we need to make the Paris Supercross. That's the next step in the evolution of this. Let's keep it what it is. Let's keep it a meaningful race that matters. I heard like a bunch of times about, the historic 40th event, how this race has such tradition, and those things are great, but also boring. And if you want to keep that great tradition, the reason this race was good is it brought in elements we hadn't seen before. Those have gone stale. We need more. Maybe you bring in some stuff, it misses, but you've got to try different stuff. That track was boring. It was just a simple track on this super slick dirt. And the format's the same, and the freestyle is the same. And then you brought out the guy on the trials bike. It just wasn't. Those are all things we've seen before. And what used to be cool about Paris Supercross was the shock value. Wow, the crazy fans, the crazy racing. You had, Damon Bradshaw almost killing Jeff Matasevich running into a wall. It was something different we hadn't seen before. We had more stars over there. Now, if you can only get a couple of the stars, let's just go with World Supercross. You'll have a deeper field, and I know people were saying it was deeper. This is not a deeper field than World Supercross. It was a little top heavy. The top 3 or 4 guys were probably better than World Supercross, but beyond that, I'm sorry, you got guys who are struggling to make main events in Supercross, and that's what it was. So sorry to be Debbie Downer today, guys, but that's what it was, man. I'm pissed. I'm pissed that I got up at 5 a.m., watched 5 hours of racing that was really boring. As I'm editing this video up, I noticed, hey, I didn't give the guys in Paris any credit whatsoever. And they do deserve credit. They're amazing promoters. Eric Pernard, I have the highest amount of respect for him. And they did something with their track markers. Feld, please do the same thing. They've got these hollow ones in areas where the track markers could be dragged onto the track. And then like in the whoops where you might need some padding, they have these long pads that protect the riders. Kudos. Somebody at Feld, contact them, find out who their supplier is, and just pony up for it. Let's keep our riders as safe as possible. And plus, they're kind of angled, so the foot pegs don't catch them as much as they do in the United States. Those square, loose covers that we have over here are ridiculous. So we want to have the racing at the highest level. Let's take note of what the Paris Supercross has done and keep our guys safe. So there's my positive. Anyway, guys, remember, subscribe. If you need a real estate agent, I'm your guy. I will sell your house. I will help find you a house. And if you're not in Las Vegas, I'll find you an agent and I'll use my platforms to help promote whatever you need to promote. So thanks, guys. Later.